Hola, ¿cómo están? Y bienvenidos a una nueva entrevista de Carta Política. Recordemos que hace un par de semanas yo les había dicho que nos iba a estar acompañando nuestro amigo Sean Gibbons, analista estadounidense, para discutir el proceso político a medida que nos acercamos a las elecciones generales en Estados Unidos, que van a tener lugar en noviembre, durante este largo proceso que van a ser las primarias en ambos partidos hasta que finalmente tengamos a los candidatos que se van a medir, este 5 de noviembre por la Casa Blanca. Sin embargo, es por ahora muy claro, se espera que los dos contendientes vuelvan a ser Donald Trump y Joe Biden. De todas formas, vamos a explicar un poco los sucesos de las últimas semanas, lo que ocurrió en Iowa y, el reciente retiro de Ron DeSantis. How are you, Sean? Welcome to Carta Política.
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm fine, but English again. Don't worry. Okay, so we can start. What happened in Iowa and what happened in the United States in the last couple of days?
Okay, so yeah, just to get started, former President Trump won the Iowa caucus with 51% of the vote. His challengers, Ron DeSantis, got second place with 21.2% of the vote. Nikki Haley got third place with 19.1% of the vote. And lastly, Vivek Ramaswamy got fourth place with 7.7% of the vote. This was a resounding win for Donald Trump, and it was a very bad night for all of his challengers. As of today, both Vivek Ramaswamy and Ron DeSantis have dropped out of the race. And while Haley is able to stay in the race, it's not looking too good for her right now.
Okay, looks like, as I said before, we have a scenario with Donald Trump and Joe Biden again as the protagonists of these elections, at least if there is no miracle. So let's start to talk about. I wanted to analyze the Ron DeSantis thing. I mean, 20 months ago, the red wave was expected in the midterms, did not take place, but DeSantis gave the Republicans a landslide victory in Florida. It seems like the birth of something new, a new movement against the hegemony of Donald Trump in the Republican Party. But what happened to Ron DeSantis? Why he just
So yeah, in the November 2022 midterms, DeSantis performed extremely well in Florida. He beat his challenger for governor, Charlie Crist, by nearly 20% of the vote, when Florida has been historically more of a swing state. This at the same time, in other states, Republicans did relatively poorly to him, losing a lot of close races and overall, being 50-50 with the Democrats elsewhere. This momentum of winning in Florida by such a substantial amount, while a lot of Trump-endorsed candidates lost in their respective states, carried DeSantis into a presidential run. And around that time, he was averaging around 30% in the polls for the nomination, well within striking distance of Donald Trump. This all changed around April 2023 when the first indictments for Trump came out. And these indictments seem to have a rally around the flag effect for Republicans, and it caused a lot of people to flock around the Trump campaign, and it caused a downslide in the DeSantis numbers in the polls. As the campaign continued, and DeSantis started hitting the campaign trail, he started to have some gaffes along the campaign trail. When he was trying to reach out to voters, it just wasn't resonating. And his support continued to fizzle. Also, when the debates came around, he was never able to stand out in the debates. It seems like the person who benefited the most from the debates was Nikki Haley, who started to see an increase in her numbers, and Ron DeSantis kept going down or stagnating in his position, never being able to get back within striking distance of Trump. By the time of the Iowa caucus, it appeared that DeSantis had already lost the election before any of the votes were even counted.
So it's over for Ron DeSantis, but this thing is just starting. How does the withdrawal affect the Republican primaries? How does the withdrawal of Ron DeSantis affect? Is Trump's candidacy completely guaranteed, or does Nikki Haley still have a little small chance?
Well, not only did not only did Ron DeSantis drop out of the race, he endorsed Donald Trump after doing so. Same with Vivek Ramaswamy. So that means that they didn't just drop out. They are telling their followers, all of their supporters, to shift their support to Donald Trump. That doesn't mean that every single voter is going to go to Trump. But in this case, all of the momentum is in the favor of Trump, and none of it is going towards Nikki Haley. Even if she were able to get, half of DeSantis voters, half of Vivek Ramaswamy voters, it would be nowhere near the ground she needs to make up to catch up to Trump to make it a competitive 1-versus-1 race. She may perform well or win in New Hampshire or her home state of South Carolina, 2 of the upcoming primaries, but it's not going to be enough to carry her through the national state-by-state race. As of right now, it's looking like she has very little to no chance of beating Trump in the absence of an extreme event like a Trump conviction or something like that could shake up the race from the outside. But if everything remains the same, she has very little chance.
Mm-hmm. So the next day in New Hampshire, any idea about what will happen there? Probably Nikki Haley has still a chance to win there.
Yeah, so it's going to be unclear on how the final result comes out because DeSantis has just endorsed Trump, and that means plenty of his supporters might flock to him instead of voting DeSantis. So a lot of the polling might be off, but the polling is kind of showing Trump around 50%, Nikki Haley around 40%, and we'll just have to see what happens. But I would expect Nikki Haley to perform well, but not nearly enough to beat Trump. And even if she does beat Trump, it's hard to see that momentum carried to other states where she's not polling within striking distance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and what about the political future of Ron DeSantis? It's possible that he become, I don't know, Donald Trump's running mate?
I would say to become his running mate is a possibility, but it's unlikely. Since DeSantis ran a campaign against Trump, they've been attacking each other throughout the campaign. And with the personality of Trump, it's unlikely to see him forgive DeSantis for that and give him the VP nod. We'll have to wait and see who he ultimately decides, but it's more likely he'll select someone that has never been seen as adversarial to him in that case.
Okay, Shen, thank you very much for this time, for this interview. Do you want to share one last thing with us?
Well, yeah, to finish answering that last question, there is a possibility he'll run in 2028, but there's no guarantee. We'll just have to wait and see on that as more things develop. And in terms of the Democratic nomination, there should be some headlines and controversy over New Hampshire. As kind of I stated in a previous video that we went over with New Hampshire, there was a controversy over New Hampshire in that the Democrats didn't want it to be the first state, but they're choosing to have their own primary anyway. And as part of that, Biden is actually not going to be on the New Hampshire ballot, and the New Hampshire primary isn't going to count for the Democrats. Biden will still be listed as a write-in candidate, and results will still be counted. So while it's expected that he's going to win it anyway, one of his challengers could perform better and better than expected, and kind of shake things up in the media. But either way, it's not likely to affect the grand scheme of the race in which Biden is looking like he'll win the Democratic primary renomination.
Looks like a very long and probably boring process, but let's hope there at least there is there was good times in the social media, but no
Yes.
interesting results. But thank you very much, Shen. Thank you for your time. So we can do another interview in the next weeks after there is something important.
Of course, yes.
Perfect. So, thank you very much, Sam. Y muchas gracias a todos los que nos están viendo y a todos los que nos van a ver. Con esto cerramos esta breve entrevista de Carta Política para relatar los últimos acontecimientos en Estados Unidos. Les recuerdo que Jan nos va a estar acompañando en las próximas semanas a medida que se desarrolla el escenario político estadounidense, a medida que se desarrolla el proceso de las primarias. Un proceso que parece gris, que parece aburrido, pero que de todas formas puede generar importantes cambios geopolíticos y puede terminar afectando la carrera definitiva, que no va a ser nada aburrida en noviembre. Les recuerdo que pueden seguirnos en Twitter como @politicacarta o en Instagram como Carta Política. Los invito a suscribirse al canal de YouTube y nos estaremos viendo en futuras entrevistas. Muchas gracias.